What is an annuity? After the Secure Act of 2019, the rules and regulations regarding annuities were loosened. Therefore, this year and next year and going forward, many people will have access to these complex financial tools within their 401k and 403b retirement plans. What does this mean for you? Well, in today's video, we find out what is an annuity. In most of my videos, I mathematically find how something is qualified based on assumptive quantitative data, but in today's video, we'll go over the 101s of the annuity. Don't worry, you nerds out there, the math budget is still well intact, and I'll go back to our regularly scheduled quantitative data analysis coming up back real soon. And for all you folks who needed to learn a little bit more about annuities first, I have devised a playlist on the who, what, where, when, how, and why of the annuities. So it's right here. Click on it or check in the comments down below for that playlist. All right, what is an annuity? Well, let's see what Investopedia says about what is an annuity. An annuity is a financial product that pays out a fixed stream of payments to an individual, and these financial products are primarily used as an income stream for retirees. Annuities are contracts issued and distributed or sold by financial institutions which invest the funds from individuals. They help individuals address the risk of outliving their savings. Upon annuitization, the holding institution will issue a stream of payments at a later point in time. Wow. Did anybody really get that? Basically, in plain English, an annuity is a way to transfer the longevity risk of outliving your money by putting that risk on an insurance company. It can be like reverse life insurance, or in plain and simplest form, it is the exchange of a lump sum of money for a stream of unending payments for the rest of your life. Very simple, but the intricacies can be very complex. So let's go into different types of annuities. Well, there are two basic types of annuities. We call them two different stages of annuities. One focuses on the accumulation. That's what we refer to as a deferred annuity. We're not going to do anything yet. We're going to defer it and accumulate wealth in it. The next is the immediate annuity, and that's the type where it refers to like annuitization, turning on your pension, turning on that stream of income. So let's focus on the first stage, the accumulation or deferred annuity. Within the deferred annuity category, we have three subcategories. Let's get into the three subcategories. The first subcategory is the fixed annuity. The next is the fixed index annuity. And lastly, we have the variable annuity. So first, the fixed annuity. A fixed annuity typically has fixed guarantees built in with a fixed interest rate. Fixed annuities typically will have some guaranteed interest rate for a set amount of time and then a potentially lower interest rate after the introductory period has ended. Second type of annuity is the fixed index annuity, which can be kind of consorted or believed to be newer, which they are. Fixed index annuities use things like indexed funds to give a crediting system, not based off of a guarantee like the first one. Fixed index annuities will tie their interest rates to the performance of a particular index. Now, these annuities offer something called a floor, meaning that you can't get any lower than usually 1 or 0. And they typically, on the other side, will have what's called a cap, meaning if the index does 10, the cap might only be 5. And also they use things like participation rates. So maybe even if the index did 10, your participation rate is 50%. So you only get that 50% of that 10. So you only end up with 5. So like I said, we're still on only the second level, and it's kind of getting a little bit more complicated. Now, lastly, the third type of annuity we have on the deferred side is the variable annuity. These annuities invest in things like mutual funds, ETF, index funds, have no guarantee or floor, and typically will have investment charges. Now, to make matters even more complicated on the What is an Annuity video, annuities have things called riders, and the deferred annuities are the ones with all these different types of riders. They can enhance the death benefit. They can enhance maybe some income potential in the future. They can have some accumulation protection where if we reach a certain amount, we can cap our losses at that amount. So it can get very complicated. I'll go over in further videos if you want, where I can go over different types of riders. Just let me know in the comments which ones you had your sights on or which types that you were most interested in. And of course, hit the like button so that the math budget can pay toward the analysis of those different riders. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of those videos as they come out. Now, deferred annuities, which are not held like in the 401k, 403b, or IRA, are tax deferred vehicles, meaning that all the interest crediting, whether it be from a fixed annuity or the investment gains from the variable annuity, are tax deferred. You don't have to pay taxes on them until you realize them. The only downfall, though, with that is that when you do realize them, they are not considered capital gains like you would in a regular investment, where if you held it for over a year, you'd get capital gains tax rate treatment. An annuity will always be taxed as ordinary income when it is in this deferred, non-qualified, non-retirement plan function. And lastly, to make things a little bit more complicated, let's bring in some accounting. Annuities are taxed LIFO, last in, first out, means that all the gains that your annuity gets via interest crediting or investment are the first ones to be pulled out and thus taxed. So before you get any of your principal back, you have to pay taxes on everything you've earned. Next, we have the immediate annuity. Things a little bit more simple. And if you've seen my video on how to create your own pension, you'll see that that's kind of the calculator that I use to find our lump sum to create that stream of income. We pretty much take a large lump sum of money, hand it over to the insurance company, and depending on whether we want a period certain or refundable or lifetime period, they give us what monthly amount they can give us in exchange for whatever lump sum amount we are giving them. Kind of hard, but let's take an example. Let's go to the computer and see what we can get for $1 million for someone who is 67 years old. All right, so the annuity FYI calculator, we're going to calculate for an immediate annuity, and we're going to have them be 67. This person will be born January 1st, 1954, and he's going to start his income next year, January 11, 2011, making him 67 years old. And I'm going to solve for the investment amount to be $1 million. Let's see what kind of monthly rates I can get. All right, it looks like for a 67-year-old, we would be able to get, with $1 million of immediate annuity premium, about $5,100 per month, or $61,000 a year. Now, if we were to play with the annuity options, we can see that we want an installment refund. So this means that the beneficiary receives the remaining balance of the annuity payments over a period of time after the annuitant dies. And I also want to bake in a 2% inflation. Let's see how much it changes my income. There we go. It drastically decreases my income from $61,000 a year to $42,900 a year, and my monthly income went from $5,100 down to $3,600. So this is typically what I would say is a safe way to make sure that your income or your annuity best performs and best serves you. But of course, it does depend. If you have no beneficiaries, then we would, of course, take out the installment refund. And then we would just do a lifetime. So lifetime adjustment, just with the inflation, let's see what we get. 4,000. So we period certain does decrease it by about $8,000 a year, but nothing really kills it as much as the inflation. So let's go ahead and see what the inflation. And there you go. So if you have inflation, it does kill your income by a little over $1,000 per month, or $12,000 a year. So that's how dangerous or how powerful inflation can be over your lifetime. Were you surprised at the amount? Let me know in the comments. So how does this affect 401ks and 403bs now that the Secure Act has been passed? Are these new annuities going to revolutionize retirement plans? Well, not really. Annuities are not new to 401ks. It's just now that the way to choose them are not as stringent on the plan sponsor, meaning that before, if a company were to put an annuity into their 401k plan, they had to do a lot of due diligence. Now that has been loosened, and apparently what I've read on the internet as far as these guidelines is that you can actually, or the plan sponsor can use whatever brochures that the insurance company gives them as their due diligence review. They don't have to go too much into how the company's doing, what their payout claims are, how strong the company is, how stable they are, and how they compare with other peers. They just have to do a relatively, in my opinion, easy review to put them in the plan. And that can be both good and bad, because now plan sponsor can literally put any annuity he wants on it, and that can really hurt your retirement. Because when I do annuity planning, I have to make sure that, number one, the company we choose will be able to pay out these claims for their entire life. Well, these income streams are only guaranteed by the strength of the annuity or insurance company. This is not FDIC or SPIC insured. It's not all bad though. The reason why this was signed into law pretty much was because retirees complained that while saving for retirement was already hard, so they added in target date funds, automatic deductions, where you just kind of set it and forget it. Even when you're retiring, your fund or your investment should, if they're in target date funds, de-risk itself so that you can retire and not have to worry about COVID-19 or stock market bubble destroying your 401k. Now, retirees want the other side, the distribution side, the side that many people like myself specialize in, because this is the part where it becomes very difficult. When you were working, you always had the cushion of the paycheck. When you don't work, you only have the cushion of your assets, that money in your 401k or in the bank. And how to best manage that both by taxes and by investment type becomes very complicated, especially when we have these new complicated financial tools within our 401k. When we pull the button to certain annuities, there's surrender periods, there's charges, there are limits. One good example, and I'll just use this to illustrate a point, is that if we decided to do an immediate annuity because we thought that $1 million payment or $1 million 401k balance was enough monthly income that I could live on. If I did that, I would lose all access to that $1 million that I once had, and now all I have is that stream of income. So if something were to happen to me, or if there's a need for more money, I would not have access to that money any longer. And in certain cases, if we did pull out money, if you had a annuity with cash guarantees or a cash value in it, you might destroy your future income forever. So what can you do? What should you do about the annuities in your 401k? Well, you should look at all the aspects of your retirement plan. Annuities are a great part of retirement. They cover very well what we consider longevity risk. That's the risk of you outliving your money. But there are other risks, and even within the longevity risk area, you also need to prepare for things like liquidity. That's the risk of needing a lump sum payment or a large amount of money at one time. There's your lifestyle, which pretty much says, hey, I want to live life the way I want to in retirement. And the last L that I cover in retirement planning is going to be legacy, and that's to leave something to somebody. If you do an immediate annuity, all that money that you gave to the insurance company to secure those lifetime payments is gone. And unless you properly structure that annuity to pay out your beneficiary when you are no longer here, no longer are those income payments. So all in all, make sure you address all the goals and all the risks of retirement before pulling the trigger and getting into any of these annuities. I hope that helps you understand a little bit more about annuities. And of course, go ahead and click the playlist if you want to learn more about annuities. And if you want to learn more about stocks investing, go ahead and check out these videos here. And of course, you can check my link down below to get your chance or yourself some Webull stocks by opening an account and depositing $100. I'll see you in the next video to find out if the math makes sense.